A warning is one thing, a message is another. But when someone leaves a photo of your child on your own doorstep, fear stops being vague. It becomes personal. And once it becomes personal, peace no longer feels like something you can leave unguarded. That morning, Tuna did not scream. She only stood still, holding the photo with both hands, while Henry played beside the old wooden step, not knowing that someone had watched him from inside their own yard. And Alex, quiet as always, looked at the picture once. Then his face changed. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a peaceful and beautiful day. Today we'll follow Alex and Tuna as one photo of Henry turns their quiet yard into a place full of fear, questions, and a painful truth. Henry, sitting near the porch, looked up when he heard Batang's voice. Batang pointed toward the old storage road beyond the village bend. It was there, he said, near the land office path, the same long mirror, the same dark front. I cannot say more yet. Alex looked toward the road. Tuna looked at Henry. No one spoke for a moment. The answer was not complete, but the silence had changed. Before, it was the silence of not knowing where danger had entered. Now, it was the silence of a family that had started to close the openings. Alex finally said, "Thank you, Uncle." Batang nodded. "Keep the boy close," he said, "and keep the yard bright." After he left, Tuna sat on the porch step, the same place where she had found the photo, but now the porch light was on. The side fence was clear, the kitchen window was open. The bell waited quietly on the latch. Henry climbed into her lap, bringing soil on his hands. Tuna did not scold him. She held his small fingers and wiped them gently with the corner of her towel. Alex stood near the gate, looking once more at the path. He still did not know who had taken the photo, but he knew something had changed inside the family. They were not helpless. They were not only afraid, they had begun to see. And in a home, seeing is the beginning of protecting. They need a safe world where someone loving is near. When Henry crouched there, pushing stones into the soil, Tuna watched him through the kitchen window. For the first time since the photo, her shoulders lowered. The yard was still the same yard. The fence was still old. The path was still dusty. But the family was no longer moving blindly inside it. They had turned fear into lines, lines into habits, and habits into a calmer home. That evening, Batang returned. He did not come through the gate. He stopped outside and called Alex's name, as he always did. Alex walked out. Tuna stood behind him, drying her hands on a towel. Batang looked at both of them and said quietly, "I remembered where I saw the motorcycle." The wind moved the cloth markers along the side fence, close enough to show the small sandals in the soil, close enough to show the corner of the vegetable bed, close enough to make their home feel suddenly too open. Tuna whispered, "How did someone get this close?" Alex did not answer immediately. He looked past the gate, then toward the side fence, then toward the narrow strip of land beside the pomelo trees, the same strip they had recently started questioning, the disputed piece of land that looked harmless in daylight, only a thin passage between the fence and the garden edge. But now in the photo, Alex saw the angle. He walked slowly from the porch to the garden. He held the picture in front of him and lifted it, comparing the background to the yard, the kitchen wall, the old water jar, the shadow of the pomelo branch. He only knew that the soil was soft, the leaves were interesting, and the pomelo tree dropped tiny green fruit sometimes. Tuna looked at him and felt her chest tighten again. Alex noticed. He did not tell her not to worry. That would have sounded empty. Instead, he said, "We will make the yard easier to watch." Those words helped more than comfort, because they gave fear somewhere to go. After breakfast, Alex took an old coil of rope, a few bamboo sticks, and some leftover white cloth from Tu Na's sewing basket. He tied small cloth markers along the weak side of the fence, not as a decoration, but as a way to show movement. If someone brushed through that side, the cloth would shift. If wind moved it, they would learn the difference. If a person touched it, the line would not lie. By the third day, the house had begun to settle into its new rhythm. The porch light was fixed. Alex moved it slightly so it covered the gate and the kitchen step, not only the porch. Tu Na tied a small bell to the side gate latch. It was not loud enough to disturb the house, but it made a clear sound if the latch moved. Alex added a bamboo barrier along the disputed strip, low but visible with no sharp edges, just a clear sign that the passage was not open. They moved Henry's play corner closer to the porch, where Tu Na could see him while cooking, and Alex could see him from the tool shed. Tu Na placed a basket of smooth stones there, a small basin, and a patch of soil just for him. Henry did not complain. Children do not need a large world to feel free. Still, Alex did not rush. He asked Ba Tang to remember carefully and tell him only what he was sure of. That became another practical warning. Do not confuse suspicion with proof. When your family is threatened, your mind wants a face. It wants someone to blame because blame feels stronger than fear. But if you choose the wrong face, you create a new problem while the real one keeps moving. So Alex kept the photo safe. He wrote down the date. He wrote down where it was found. He wrote down what Ba Tang noticed. He did not make accusations. He made a record. This is a small but important tip for any family. When something strange happens, write it down immediately. Date, time, place, who saw it, what changed, what was found. Memory can become emotional. Paper stays calmer. Into careful looking. Alex took a stick and began drawing lines in the dirt, the gate, the front path, the porch, the kitchen step, the garden edge, the backyard corner, the blind side near the pomelo trees. He did not draw the house as the family saw it. He drew it as movement, where someone could enter, where someone could pause, where someone could hide, where Henry liked to wander when adults were busy. Tu Na watched silently. She had always seen the yard as a place of work and warmth, a place of washed vegetables, hanging towels, baskets, tools, and Henry's laughter. But now Alex was showing her another layer. Every home has visible doors, but every home also has invisible paths, the places people naturally walk, the corners nobody checks. For the first time that day, Tu Na laughed, not because the fear was gone, but because life had returned for a moment. And sometimes, after fear enters a home, the first victory is not courage. It is hearing your child laugh again. The next morning, Alex walked the whole yard before sunrise. Mist hung low above the garden beds. The soil was dark. A few water drops clung to the bamboo fence. He carried the photo in his pocket again, not to stare at Henry, to study the background. This time he noticed something small. In the far corner of the image, behind the blur of the fence line, there was a dark shape. At first, it looked like nothing, just shadow. But when he turned the photo toward the morning light, he saw part of a motorcycle handlebar. Maybe. Or maybe his eyes wanted to find something. He called Tu Na softly. She came out holding Henry's sweater. Alex showed her the corner. "Do you see that?" Tu Na narrowed her eyes. "A motorcycle? Maybe." She looked toward the side strip. "That means someone stopped there." Alex nodded. This changed the feeling. Someone had not only passed by, someone may have paused, prepared, watched. Tu Na hugged Henry's sweater against her chest. Alex took a breath. He knew anger was waiting nearby, ready to enter him if he opened the door. But anger can make a man loud before it makes him wise. So he stayed quiet. He walked to Ba Tang's house after breakfast. Ba Tang was sitting outside, sharpening a small knife for cutting banana stems. His radio played low beside him. Alex showed him the photo. For a while, Ba Tang did not speak. His old fingers held the edge of the paper carefully. Then his eyes moved to the far corner. He leaned closer. "I know that motorcycle," he said. Alex became still. Tu Na, who had followed a few steps behind, stopped near the gate. Ba Tang tapped the dark blur with one finger. "Not the whole bike, but the mirror. That long mirror. I have seen it near the old storage road." Tu Na whispered, "Whose?" Ba Tang did not answer quickly. That was what made it heavier. He looked toward the path, then back at Alex. "I am not saying a name yet," he said. "An old man must be careful with words, but I have seen that shape before." Alex nodded. That answer was enough for now, not proof, but a direction. And sometimes a direction is the first crack in a mystery. At night, porch light on, tools put away, side cloth markers checked. It was not fear, it was rhythm, and rhythm is easier for a tired family to carry than panic. The fourth lesson came quietly from that notebook. Do not rely on memory when life is busy. Write the routine down, because stress makes people forget. Fatigue makes people miss things, and parents are not machines. Tu Na looked at the page for a long time. Then she said, "I thought if I loved him enough, I would see everything." Alex's face softened. "No one sees everything," he said. "That is why we build habits." Henry looked up from his bowl and said, "Mama?" Tu Na immediately smiled and answered him, though her eyes were wet. "Yes, my little one." He held up the spoon like he had discovered treasure. "What is this?" "Our checking habit," Alex said. She almost smiled, but her face was still tired. "You're making safety like farm work?" Alex nodded. "Farm work survives because we repeat small things: watering, feeding, closing, counting. Safety is the same." That made sense to Tu Na. The family already lived by rhythm. Rice was washed before the fire. Vegetables were picked before the sun became strong. Tools were put away before rain. The gate was closed before dark. Why should safety be different? They made a simple routine. In the morning, check the gate and side path. Before lunch, check where Henry is playing and whether the garden edge is visible. Before sunset, check the back corner, the kitchen step, and the pomelo side. The better way is quieter. Choose reliable people. Explain only what they need to know and ask for specific help. Call me if you hear a motorcycle near the side strip. That is better than watch everything. Specific help is useful help. By late afternoon, Tu Na had calmed enough to cook. The smell of ginger and rice filled the kitchen. Henry sat on the floor with a wooden spoon, tapping a bowl softly. But even in that warmth, Tu Na kept turning her head toward the yard. Alex saw it. After dinner, he brought out an old notebook. The cover was bent from being used for farm expenses. He opened a clean page and wrote, "Gate, side path, garden edge, back corner, kitchen step, pomelo side." Then he made 3 columns: morning, afternoon, evening. Tu Na looked at it. 2 evenings ago, Henry had been playing outside while she washed his clothes. Alex did not let the silence grow too heavy. He said, "From now on, if you hear something there, call me." Ba Tang nodded. "Of course." That was the 3rd lesson. A safe home is not only protected by wood, rope, or locks. It is protected by people who notice. But trust must be built before the emergency, not after. Alex did not run through the village accusing anyone. He did not turn fear into noise. He started with one trusted elder, one clear request, and one shared understanding. A common mistake is telling everyone everything when you are frightened. That can spread panic and rumors faster than truth. From the water jar, they could see where Henry liked to squat and play with soil. The house had not changed much, but their sightlines had. That afternoon, Ba Tang came by with a bundle of cassava leaves under his arm. He was an elderly neighbor with slow steps and sharp eyes, the kind of man who noticed when a gate hinge sounded different. He looked at the trimmed fence and said, "You finally opened that side." Alex did not show him the photo yet. He only asked, "Did you see anyone passing near the strip these days?" Ba Tang leaned on the fence and thought. "Motorcycles pass," he said. "Workers sometimes. A man came 2 evenings ago, but I only heard the engine. Didn't see his face." Tu Na, standing near the kitchen door, looked down. Then he stopped near the fence. "This was taken from here," he said quietly. Tu Na followed him, still holding the basin against her waist as if she had forgotten to put it down. "From inside?" she asked. "Not fully inside," Alex said. "From the side strip. Close enough." Tu Na looked at the narrow path. They had passed it every day. They had pulled weeds near it. They had talked about fixing the fence there, but because nothing had happened before, it had always remained tomorrow's problem. Her eyes filled with tears. "I should have seen it," she said. "I let Henry play here." Alex turned to her. "No," he said. "This is not because you didn't care." Tu Na shook her head. "But I was here. I was washing vegetables. I should have heard something." Alex looked back at the photo. Tu Na picked up a small stone and placed it near the drawing of the porch. "This is where I usually stand when I wash vegetables," she said. Then she placed another stone near the kitchen. "This is where I go when the rice boils." Then another near the garden bed. "This is where Henry goes when he wants soil." Alex nodded. Now they were not only looking at danger, they were looking at routine. That was different. Danger feels like a shadow. Routine shows you where the shadow can enter. A small tip came from that moment. Mark the places where the child naturally stops, not only where adults walk, because children do not move like adults. Adults walk with purpose. Children wander with wonder. Henry did not know about blind spots. Not all at once, not by waiting for enough money, not by building a wall overnight. A family can begin with visibility, then boundaries, then routines, then communication. The mistake many people make is waiting for a big solution while ignoring small openings. But small openings are often what trouble uses first. So Alex and Tu Na made the first layer, visibility. They cut the weeds. They moved the stacked baskets away from the fence. They lowered a hanging tarp that had blocked the kitchen window. They trimmed one pomelo branch that created too much shadow near the side path. Nothing looked dramatic. But by noon, the yard felt different. From the kitchen step, Tu Na could now see the garden edge. From the porch, Alex could see the side strip. "The problem is not your care," he said. "The problem is that we trusted our eyes more than our system." That sentence stayed in the air between them. The wind moved through the bamboo fence. A rooster called somewhere behind Ba Tang's old shed. Henry laughed softly because the leaf finally slipped through the crack. And for one moment, Tu Na wanted to pick him up and never let him leave her arms again. But Alex knew something important. Fear can protect you for 1 minute. A system protects you every day. So he folded the photo and put it in his shirt pocket. Then he said, "First, we keep Henry calm. Then we look at the house like strangers would look at it." Tu Na wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. That was how the morning changed. Not into shouting, not into revenge. The fence line everyone assumes is safe because it has always been there. Alex pointed to the gate first. "This is not the only entrance," he said. Then he pointed to the side path. "This is where someone can come without being seen from the kitchen." Then the garden edge. This is where Henry stands when he follows the butterflies. Then the backyard corner. This is where sound disappears when the wind comes from the trees. Tu Na pressed her lips together. It was painful, but it was also becoming clear. The first lesson was simple. Do not only secure the door, understand the movement around the home. A common mistake, Alex said, is thinking safety means one strong lock. But a family yard is not one point. It is a circle. If one side is forgotten, the whole circle becomes weak. His face was not clear, but his shirt, his hair, and his little sandals were unmistakable. Tu Na's knees weakened. She did not call out loudly. She did not want Henry to be frightened. She only turned toward the kitchen and said in a voice much smaller than usual, "Alex." Alex came out wiping his hands on an old towel. He saw Tu Na's face before he saw the photo. Then he took it from her. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Henry was humming to himself beside the porch, trying to push a bamboo leaf through a crack in the step. Alex looked at the image carefully, not with panic, not with anger, but with that quiet sharpness Tu Na had seen before, whenever something was wrong and he was already thinking 3 steps ahead. The photo had been taken inside their own yard. The morning began like any other morning at the wooden house. The kettle was already making its soft sound in the kitchen. The yard still smelled damp from the night rain. Near the porch, Henry's tiny sandals were lying crooked in the soil, one on its side, one half covered with dust. Tu Na had just stepped outside with a basin of washed vegetables when she saw it. A photo, not in an envelope, not hidden, just placed flat on the wooden doorstep where anyone in the family would see it. At first, she thought it was an old paper blown in by the wind, but when she bent down and turned it over, her fingers became cold. It was Henry. He was standing near the garden edge, holding a small stick, looking down at the soil. Tu Na helped him trim the weeds near the disputed strip. At first, she cut too fast, almost angrily. Alex stopped her gently. "Slow," he said. "We are not fighting the grass. We are opening our eyes." That made her breathe. They cleared the side path until the ground was visible. Before, tall grass had made the fence look fuller than it really was. Now, the weakness showed clearly. One bamboo post leaned outward. Near the bottom, there was enough space for a person to step close and lift the camera without entering the gate. Entering through the gate, Tu Na stared at it. "All this time," she said. Alex tightened the post with rope and added a temporary crosspiece. "It doesn't need to be perfect today," he said. "It needs to be better than yesterday." That became the second lesson. Safety improves in layers. By the end of that week, the wooden house did not become a fortress. It became clearer. The yard became easier to watch. The gate had a sound. The dark corner had light. The side strip no longer disappeared behind weeds. Henry's play space stayed close to the warmth of the porch. Tu Na still felt fear sometimes. A mother's heart does not forget quickly. But now her fear had work to do. Alex did not promise that nothing bad would ever happen. He promised something quieter and more honest. They would notice sooner. They would prepare better. They would not leave peace unguarded. Because protection is not always a big wall. Sometimes it is a trimmed path, a porch light, a written routine, a neighbor who listens, and a father who studies one small photo until the yard begins to speak. And that night, as Henry fell asleep inside the old wooden house, Tu Na looked out at the brightened yard and understood something. Peace is not the absence of danger. Peace is knowing that love has learned how to stand watch.